DNA Friend is a new consumer genetics company that aims to rival 23andMe with its fastest and freest DNA testing service. The only difference? Well, it's a total parody. DNA Friend, which has both a website and a social media presence, is a creation of Thud, a new media project run by former Onion staffers and originally backed by Elon Musk. According to The Atlantic, Musk originally owned the business but sold it back to the former editors at The Onion, Ben Berkeley and Cole Bolton, back in January. Musk once referred to The Onion as the greatest publication in history of all conscious beings, living or dead, indicating a deep affinity for satire. The fact that Thud chose the DNA testing space as a first target is revealing. Health experts suggest the space is booming, with at-home DNA testing company 23andMe alone claiming to have more than 8 million users. Ancestry, its chief rival, has more than 10 million in its database, but the market, which is expected to be worth more than $22 billion by 2024, is also under fire for a range of issues, ranging from the lack of consumer privacy protections, recent involvements with law enforcement, and questionable clinical utility. Consumer genetics companies have a challenging job of building more applications of genomics to attract more customers, but also building applications responsibly to ensure scientific validity, said David Middleman, a former chief scientific officer of Family Tree DNA, a consumer genetics company, and a geneticist. So here you go, for an example. On its website and social media channels, DNA Friend rips right into DNA testing companies for charging consumers to tell them obvious things such as estimate of eye and hair color. One testimonial said, from Paulo, "I always suspected I had brown eyes, but DNA Friend finally confirmed it." This is trolling it. It's fine. This is great. This is hilarious. Another fake note of user feedback. A man named Carl noted, DNA Friend linked my DNA to a string of unsolved murders committed in LA during the 80s. It's a thinly veiled reference to the arrest of the alleged Golden State Killer, who was identified after more than 30 years when relatives uploaded their DNA to an open source website called GED Match. The arrest prompted debate about whether consumers are aware that their data could be used in criminal investigations. And that's not the only thing. Privacy is another hot topic, as DNA testing companies sometimes earn money by forging research details with pharma companies. To be fair, these companies typically do ask for consent, although most customers do not always read the terms and conditions. "We know that you're entrusting us with every intimate detail of who you are," the website jokes, "and we will never violate that trust by allowing your DNA to fall in the hands of anyone outside our corporate partnership network." Another testimonial said, from Julianne, "I was skeptical at first, but after carefully researching the process on the DNA Friend website and nowhere else, I took the plunge, and boy, I'm glad I did. Turns out my saliva is mostly European." The site is hilarious, and we're spending some time browsing, so it kind of reminds me at this point about clientsfromhell.com, which is another hilarious site, not related to any DNA testing of any sort, but well, like comedy often does, it also gets into some serious themes that's top of mind for many consumers. So, especially after the New York Times editorial board published a piece warning consumers about the potential pitfalls of placing too much trust in their DNA test results. These concerns centered around 23andMe's, one of their tests, which only looked for mutations in a handful of places where they're known to appear. So, in other words, the authors were concerned that 23andMe might be providing a false reassurance to people who would otherwise seek medical care, not a doctor. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And I don't know, have you guys used a DNA test? I'm always flip-flopping. I'm like wondering, should I try it? Should I not try it? I'm hitting the microphone stand. Should I really? Is it worth doing at all? I mean, am I going to know anything different about me that I don't know already from conversations I've had with my parents, grandparents, relatives? You know, you never know. I mean, it always is a touchy thing in terms when it comes to privacy, and I understand that. So I'd love to have a conversation on Twitter or Facebook. Be sure to let me know on there, and we can continue the conversation.